Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Rachel Williams begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The state government has doubled down on its tough stance against pill testing, despite a passionate push from the upper house to consider the evidence. It comes as an ambitious anti-smoking proposal also hit a hurdle in the Legislative Council.
Pill testing. It's a measure Tasmania's legislative councillors think could save lives. Last night passing a motion calling on the government to consider the evidence for a trial at festivals.
If a person's considering taking a drug, they've already got it in their hand, they're already in the festival, the prohibition's failed at that point, I'd much rather them talk to a health professional who knows what the risks are.
Despite this, the government has already knocked down the idea, saying it doesn't support illegal drug testing.
We'll be looking to work with events organisers so that we can introduce more education and support counselling opportunities to encourage people, young and old, to make the decision to throw anything that's illegal in the bin.
We will continue to review the existing and the emerging evidence and continue to have the conversation with stakeholders and with the community.
Meanwhile, in the chamber, a bid to discuss increasing the smoking age to 21 failed. But the MP behind the push has vowed not to give up, despite concern from the business community.
It would be unfair on small businesses, unfair on pubs and clubs, and unfair on tourists visiting our state as well. What we need to see here is greater education, not greater regulation.
Our time between now and next year is going to be, I guess, full on, because we intend to get this bill up.
The government said it's not convinced change is needed, but is open to discussion. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
Investigations are underway tonight into a serious crash on Sandy Bay Road. The two-vehicle collision was reported around 2 p.m, with a truck involved catching fire. One person has been taken to hospital in a serious condition. The road has been blocked for several hours while forensic police examined the scene. It's causing extensive delays for motorists in the area. Tasmania's emergency services are on alert, with another spell of bushfire weather set to hit the state tomorrow. The fire service has issued a total fire ban over parts of the state, with temperatures set to climb into the mid-30s.
Tasmanian firefighters have already seen an early start to the bushfire season, with blazes flaring in the Central Highlands, East Coast and Derwent Valley this season. Now, the bushfire danger is set to rise again.
The conditions aren't going to be good. As a result, the Tasmanian Fire Service has declared a total fire ban for Thursday. That'll come on at 2 a.m. Thursday morning and come off at 2 a.m. on Friday.
The ban is in place over much of the eastern half of the state, where new fires could be difficult to control in strong winds and high temperatures.
We're looking at strong winds, low humidity and high temperatures, and it'll be a difficult day for firefighters across Tasmania.
So a hot, dry and windy day, and we're expecting severe fire danger about parts of the northeast, east and southeast for tomorrow. The concern, I guess, is that with those high temperatures, if fires get going, they'll be very difficult to control.
With the fire danger up to severe in some parts, authorities are already planning their response.
All the precautions in respect of pre-placing assets such as our aerial assets and our fire teams in the areas that we think are at risk.
Details on the fire ban and the latest bushfire alerts can be found on the TFS website. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
One of Tasmania's longest-serving politicians has announced his retirement, saying it's time for the next generation to step in. Rosevear's Legislative Councillor Kerry Finch was elected to the northern seat in 2002, but today revealed he won't recontest next year's election. The 71-year-old said it's been a privilege to serve in the upper house, and he now hopes another independent candidate will take his place. An 82-year-old East Coast man has died after he was thrown off his quad bike yesterday afternoon. Police say the man was herding sheep at his Swanston property when he came off an ATV, which then landed on top of him. Authorities pronounced him dead at the scene. A report is being prepared for the coroner. Tonight, some of our most inspiring sporting stars will be competing for a different prize in the 2019 Tasmanian Athlete of the Year. Two past legends will also be acknowledged with inductions into the State's Hall of Fame. Our reporter Ruby Kamain joins us live from the ceremony. Good evening, Ruby. What can we expect from this evening's event?
Rachel, more than 150 community members are set to gather here at Motor's Hobart tonight to celebrate Tasmania's sporting success over the past year. The finalists include triathlete Jake Birtwistle, world champion track cyclists Amy Cure and Georgia Baker, knockout swimmer Ariane Titmus, co-captain of the Kookaburras Eddie Ockenden and rower Sarah Hoare. We spoke to the director of the Tasmanian Institute of Sport earlier today about what their outstanding accomplishments mean for Tasmania.
When you look at the calibre of the finalists, it makes a very strong statement about the quality of Tasmanian athletes. These performances are all at the top of their sport in the world championships, in the specific events, and clearly from an athlete's perspective you can't be any better than the best in the world. So they're fantastic performances, and it's great to be able to celebrate them.
Now, some past local champions will also be acknowledged tonight, with two new athletes joining Tasmania's Hall of Fame. So, Rachel, the wait is now on to see who will come out on top, but I think we can all say that all the finalists have made the state proud, as well as the whole country.
Absolutely, they have indeed. Thank you very much for that update and report, Ruby. The nation's bee population is set to be strengthened under a $1.5 million sweetener from the federal government. Tasmanian apiarists say the investment into research is needed to help rebuild local bee numbers, which have plunged in the last year.
Within this clover field lies some of the busiest and most important workers in the agricultural sector.
The bees are essential to the pollination of so many of our crops, whether it's peas, potatoes, poppies, berries, cherries.
From the paddocks to the hives, bees are creating quite the buzz.
The work that bees and hives like here do actually contribute $14.2 billion to our national economy.
It's left a sweet taste in the mouth of the federal government. Agricultural Minister Bridget McKenzie today on the ground in Symmons Plains, committing $1.5 million for the industry. It will help offer training to apiarists across the country, as well as new research into reducing the risk of pests such as varroa mite.
We need to keep checking these hives to make sure that pest and disease don't get in and that they're continually healthy.
But the State's Beekeepers Association says the threat of climate change is already knocking at the hive doors, with dry conditions decimating bee numbers by up to 20% in the last year. It wants to see the issue become a focus of investigation too.
That's something we take very seriously as a government. Our research and development corporations involved in agriculture are also taking that very seriously.
Our bee industry is so important. It's vitally important. It's the lifeblood of agriculture.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmanian News.
Derby has played host to a national summit on mountain biking and adventure tourism. The northeast town has used its own remarkable transformation as an example of how to become a world-class mountain bike destination.
It's a homegrown success story. Only 5 years ago, Derby was a sleepy ex-mining town. Now it's a mountain biking mecca.
Yeah, turning the key back on in Derby, it's like it's done 2 or 3 rotations in the lock because it's unlocked so much more. The industry here, the people, everywhere you look.
The first ever Australian Mountain Bike Summit has been held in Derby with more than 80 people attending the 2-day event.
There's a lot of investment going into mountain bike trails all around Australia and particularly Tasmania. So we thought it was a good opportunity to share our knowledge and experience with all this investment that's happening.
Speakers travelled from as far as New Zealand, Norway and Switzerland, learning firsthand how to become a mountain bike destination.
I mean, in the Alps we often have the thing that you have existing destinations and they want to do the transition. I mean, we have all the service chains and everything already there, but trails are missing.
Council estimates around $15 million is pumped into the Dorset economy each year thanks to Derby's mountain biking, with thousands of riders travelling from afar to experience these world-class trails. Derby was put on the map when it hosted the Enduro World Series in 2017 and again earlier this year.
We built a couple of new ones for the 2019 EWS and that was only 2 times I've come back, and on the second time they voted it the best trail in the world again.
And it's not the end for this trail-loving town.
There's more trails planned. So I think over the next few years we'll see a lot of exciting things happen.
Letitia Wallace, 7 Tasmanian News.
A prominent government building in Hobart has been adorned with vibrant umbrellas, each sprawled with important messages for those in the offices to read. The statements coming from nearly 200 young Tasmanians for World Children's Day.
And the messages are all about what children and young people need to feel safe in their communities, and the messages that they think policymakers and decision makers should hear when they're going about their work.
I have a strong passion for young people having a voice and being able to have a say, and that's why I did it, to speak up for those who can't or don't want to.
Mental health, climate change and access to services among the project's topics. The patter of paws filled Hobart's CBD today as some hard-working poochers sniffed out funds for a valuable cause. The Guide Dogs Tasmania are holding its annual street appeal to help train future service dogs.
Every single dog costs over $50,000 to fully train as a working guide dog, and we want to do as much as we can. We're a small organisation doing big things to help people in our community.
There are 24 guide dogs currently working in Tasmania, with 6 puppies preparing for training. A local cafe was giving away coffees for free today to celebrate a milestone. Hobart's Hamlet Cafe has helped more than 250 people complete hospitality and customer service training since it opened its doors in 2016. In total, the operators calculate they've provided more than 20,000 hours of training.
Some, basic work-ready skills, but they're also increasing their confidence so they actually feel like comfortable to go out and seek employment opportunities.
So it's really built up my self-confidence, giving me practical skills to go back and join the workforce.
The program is set to continue indefinitely, with the state government today announcing $110,000 in funding.
A new star has emerged in Tasmania's final one-day cup match of the year. In just his second game for the Tigers, Mac Wright belted a sensational century to carry the side to a 120-run win over New South Wales, while Jackson Bird snagged 6 wickets. Playing for pride and to avoid the wooden spoon, Tiger hearts sunk in the very first over. Out! Ben McDermott for a duck, Caleb Jewell for 3, Bo Webster for 8. Seeing out 50 overs looked like a pipe dream, but someone ordered a Big Mac.
That is 6 and onto the grass. Beautifully picked up from Mac Wright.
It's only his second game in state colours. He looked like a veteran.
Oh, it's a great shot. That's well in front of square. Picked it up off a length and watched it sail over the rope.
That's a good shot. It's wide mid-off and it's wide of the fence too.
Nathan Ellis had claims to the biggest 6.
Oh my God!
It would be the perfect curtain raiser to Wright's moment in the sun, a maiden first-class century.
It's been a proud knock. It's held the innings together and is the second youngest Tasmanian to do it in the state's history since Tim Payne in 2006.
A man of the match performance rivalled only by the incredible encore from Jackson Bird.
Oh, Jackson Bird goes bang next ball.
His figures of 6 for 25 were the second best by a Tigers player in one-day cup history.
Great catch, great delivery, and great bowling from Jackson Bird. That's an edge. That's 6. Oh, Jackson Bird.
The final wickets were a formality, Tasmania finishing 4th in the competition.
Today I just felt a bit more comfortable, and every ball you spend out there, that pressure just goes down a bit more, and I felt like I could play my natural game.
And South African batsman David Miller has inked a deal with the Hurricanes for the upcoming Big Bash season. Meanwhile, the Hobart Hurricanes made a flying start in their WBBL game against the Sydney Sixers. Batting first, the Sixers scored 134 off their 20 overs. A Tasmanian NPL player has been sanctioned by Football Federation Australia for betting on matches involving his own team. The player, who hasn't been named, will be suspended for 2 matches and cop a $5,000 fine. The penalty will double if the player breaches the code of conduct again.
Good evening. Temperatures ranged from -2 at Butler's Gorge overnight to 24 today at Hobart and Campania. Launceston 19, Burnie and Devonport 15 degrees. For a change, the temperatures close to or above average. Ouse 23, Friendly Beaches and Grove 22, Flinders Island and St Helens 19, Smithton 17, Low Head and Strawn 16. We did have a mass of mid to high level cloud across the state. It cleared from the northwest before a bit of low cloud moved over there afterwards. Cloud with embedded thunderstorms streamed down from Western Australia over the Bight, tracking a cold front to our west. A cold pool of air is behind that system. Tomorrow, that front moves over South Australia as it nears our west coast, a trough over a large portion of inland Australia. The winds northwest to northeast at 20 to 30 knots, shifting west-southwesterly from late morning. Strong west-northwest winds inland. So we have a severe weather warning for potentially damaging winds for western, central and eastern Tasmania. A strong wind warning for all waters apart from the southwest coast and also for the southwest and central lakes. A fire weather warning for central and eastern Tasmania. You may have seen earlier in the bulletin, Tasmania Fire Service has declared a total fire ban for most municipalities for tomorrow. Now to the forecast. Hobart, a top of 33, a hot day with a late shower or two. Same for Cygnet, 31 degrees and 34 for New Norfolk. Temperatures rising in the north as well, 30 for Launceston, becoming windy in the afternoon. Devonport 27, Campbelltown 32 degrees. Burnie partly cloudy and 25, up to 31 for Strawn with a windy afternoon with a shower later, partly cloudy for Smithton and 25. 33 for St Helens, 34 for Swansea. Fingal, a hot day, 34 degrees. UV up there, it's 10 and very high. On Friday, mostly fine apart from a possible shower over the northeast early. Showers over the west on Saturday, extending statewide during the morning. And on Sunday, fine for most regions, showers forecast for the west. Fine for Perth tomorrow, a cooler day in Adelaide. Melbourne warming up to 39, hot as well in Canberra, mostly sunny in Sydney and Brisbane. Cloudy over Hobart, it's 18 degrees at the moment, 19 in Launceston, partly cloudy in Devonport and 14 degrees. Rachel, tomorrow it's going to feel like we're in Bali.
Wouldn't that be lovely? Thank you very much for that, Murph. Well, that's all your news for now. I'll be back a little later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.